Good morning, y'all. Oh, just waking up with you guys. No, I'm just joking. I've been up since 2:30 this morning. It is 10 a.m. on the nose on this May 29th. Gosh, May's gone, but we say that about every month, right? Time just flies. And it is Thursday, 86 degrees. Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, good morning. And we are live right now inside Results One, what we do almost every day. Trooper Steve on patrol. Now, this patrol, Sue, good morning, girl. This patrol was recommended by one of our staff members, one of our web producers. She was like, Steve, you think you can do an Ask Trooper Steve about tires and tire safety? And I was like, well, what do you want me to do specifically? And brought up to my attention that over the past week, we've had two separate incidents related to tire blowouts. Now, I have a personal story from tire blowouts, and I was along 408 when I was a trooper, and a semi-truck next to me, the tire blew out. It shattered my driver window. Now, I deal pretty well under kind of crazy situations, so I was able to kind of get my wits together, pull over, and recover from the situation, but not everybody can. So we're going to talk about all sorts of situations just like that. First and foremost, what we're going to talk about is obviously the prevention to all this. Tire safety alone, right? So what causes a tire blowout? Let's think about this. Tire blowouts can happen at any time. They are unpredictable, but they are preventable. And a few things can cause a tire blowout, but we're more focused today on these types of tires. And I'm talking about semi-trucks, because when this type of tire blows, this is the kind of situation that can really jar somebody and really scare you. Think about this for just a moment. You're driving down the roadway, and suddenly you're next to a large semi-truck when one of these tires just explode next to your car. Now, if you're driving in a normal manner on the highway, there's a chance that you're only within a few feet of something like that, and that can be pretty dangerous. So let's talk about what causes tire blowouts. First and foremost, underflated tires. You need to make sure your tire pressure is always consistent, and with temperature changes, tire changes can happen. Tire pressure can change, so you want to make sure that you're cautious with things like that. Man, that's some scary stuff. I can understand why you guys want to stay away from these semi-trucks, because we're probably 4 feet from the side of this truck, and if a tire was to blow, it would be loud, it would be obnoxious. What else? Overloaded vehicles. Overloaded vehicles cause issues with the tires. Think about that for a second. Carrying too much weight, right, puts excess stress on those tires. Potholes, road hazards can cause a blowout. You just never know. You hit something too deep in the roadway, it could puncture the tire. Old and worn out tires. Man, I encourage you guys, next time you're in a parking lot and walking to your car, just take a look at the tires as you're walking, and you will see a smorgasbord of how people take care of the only piece of your car that's touching the ground. You would think you'd take care of a little bit more, but sometimes you see the tire tread on vehicles. That is a recipe for disaster, with things just waiting to blow, which can be kind of crazy. Heat and friction, all right? Hot Florida roads can bake an egg, right? Think about what it can do to your tire over time. So there's obviously things we should be doing to avoid this type of thing. So you want to make sure that your tire pressure is always. Set up a reminder on your phone. I know that sounds so cheesy. Oh my gosh, Trooper Steve's telling me to set a reminder on my phone when to check my tire pressure. You remind yourself when to go to the doctor's, right? You put it in the calendar. Why not set a monthly reminder, tire pressure check, and it's as quick as you go out, touch your tires, check them, stop at the gas station, and you're good to go. I don't think that's a bad idea, guys. What else do we got going on? Inspect the tread depth. You can easily do this with a penny. You want 2/3 of that penny covered. Obviously, you want 2/3 of the tread, all right? Once you start getting a little lower in that, you're going to start to see wear and tear of your vehicle. When you're doing that monthly inspection, I want you to also check for bulges, cracks, decay in your tire. I had a vehicle that had sat for a long time. The vehicle was fine. I'd started, but I wasn't able to drive it around. Over time, the weather, the humidity, dryness, just all of it, the elements, started to wear on the tire. Bulges started to form, cracks started to form. I didn't even feel safe driving that to get it replaced. I replaced it right there and then, because driving on the road, you just never know what can happen. Now, this is something that maybe is part of a routine maintenance. Obviously, when you get your oil changed, they ask you sometimes, hey, do you want us to rotate your tires? My suggestion, yes, you want to rotate your tires every 5,000 to 7,000 miles. So every 5,000 to 7,000 miles, you want to rotate. And then, of course, you want to avoid overloading. So, we talked about what can cause them, what you should be doing to prevent them. Now, the fun part. I want to talk about vehicle positioning. Since we're out here on the interstate, there's a lot of semi-trucks, and we're going to approach a few trucks here, and we're going to use the technology here on Results One to kind of show you the positioning of where you should be around some of these larger vehicles. So we're going to catch up to one of these semi-trucks up here and check it out. If you're joining us this morning, thanks for joining us. We're talking tire safety, tire blowouts. We've had a few incidents here in our community over the last week that have resulted in not only serious injury, but death as well. So today, that's what we're covering. We're doing prevention, what causes the tire blowout, and of course, vehicle positioning out on the roadway. And that's the fun part of what I kind of want to show you out here today. So if you're joining us, we're trying to catch up with some semis that are up here in front of us. What I might do is slow it down a little bit so that we can just let them catch up to us. I do have some of them behind us. It's going to be another wash, what is it, rinse and repeat kind of day. I have an idea. This is what we're going to do. We'll exit up here, get turned around. Checking out the rear cam, a little fogged up this morning, but things out here looking good. We're almost caught up here. Perfect. Switch back up to the front. 90 degrees right now in as we cross into Volusia County. Temperatures high today. Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos giving us that News 6 weather, letting us know what's going on. This afternoon, 4 or 5 o'clock, those storms will come in again, obviously. All right, so we're coming up on this truck here, slowly catching up. Don't want to speed on the live streams. You guys do real good at calling me out. Okay, here we go. Get the cameras ready. What I think is the most important part is, of course, the prevention and the maintenance of your tires. But it's the vehicle positioning, because not a lot of people proactively think about this. Look, as a trooper, I spent so much time on the road, and you tend to start to think about how I can proactively keep myself safe rather than reacting to another driver. So this is kind of the fun part of this. Here we are behind a semi-truck. If this was to have some type of blow. Look, guys, I just bombed all the cameras here. So let's try this again. Here we go. Camera's got all flubbed up. All right, let's try that again. So out on the road, as a trooper, I spend a lot of time. I think about this stuff. It's a proactive mindset. Most of us, let's be honest, we react, and that's all we tend to do. And that's all we really have to do most of the times. But with tire blowouts, they're unpredictable. So positioning your vehicle is key. So you never want to be too close to any of these big trucks, any large vehicle, because once the tire blows, the tread, where's it going to go? It is going to fly backwards. Also, the trauma, the damage, the injuries, they occur when you are next to these big rigs. So sometimes traffic will get you stuck next to a large vehicle. Being stuck next to a tire like this is not something any of us want to do. So hear me out, okay? No one's going to yell at you for slowing down or speeding up to get past this. Now, no one is telling you to do 100 miles an hour, but no first responder truly wants you stuck next to a large tire like that. So as a driver, if you're going to be stuck there and it's going to cause some stress to you, avoid that. Maybe the pass isn't worth it. Maybe use another travel lane. Maybe speed up just a little bit to get past that semi-truck so you can kind of not be within the blast area, right? Also, something to think about, smaller vehicles. You should be constantly looking around. You really should be. You should be analyzing other drivers' behaviors. How are they going to react if something was to happen? So, the hardest thing is here, I think, for me, talking to you guys about something like this is most of the things we talk about is predicting a situation. You can't predict a blowout. I can only get your mind really prepared for it. That's kind of what I'm trying to do. So what we're going to do here is exit off of Deltona, head back west, talk about it one more time briefly, and we'll call it a day. Let's get swung around here real quick. I am so thirsty that I am barely able to talk to you guys. All right, here we go. Let's exit here at the 108. All right, tire blowouts. Something we can't predict. Something that is scary when it happens, but most time we see the aftermath, right? The tire gators sitting out on the shoulder. I can guarantee you when that ended there, the start of that was probably pretty dramatic, leaving whatever vehicle it is. That debris can cause damage to your car. That explosion can shatter a window or injure a pedestrian or cause a crash. So what we're talking about today is not only the maintenance you should be constantly doing on your vehicle, but positioning and how you should be driving around larger vehicles to kind of prevent when and if it happens. Because again, getting a flat tire, sometime in your life, it's going to happen. A tire exploding right next to you, that's pretty unpredictable. So we're going to get out here on I-4 and kind of hover around a few semi-trucks, positions you don't want to be in, and kind of some tips that I want to give you that no instructor's really going to give you. You're not going to find it in a handbook, but things that you're going to go, not a bad idea. All right, let's get on to I-4. I'll show it to you. You can put it into your toolbox. Let me know if it works. Of course, once we get on I-4, there's no semi-trucks anywhere. whoa there, homie. This guy coming up so fast. Jeez, I was trying to switch over the camera so you could see this. This guy easily was doing like 90 up behind me here. Had to slow down. Thank you. And it's probably like, oh, yeah, the red truck. I'm not going to clown him, but my goodness. We should do a clown of the week. Yeah, you. All right. I have a large dump truck coming up, and that's what we're going to use for our positioning for any type of situation where you're having, where you want to avoid this kind of stuff. All right. Nope. This car, and no one wants to let me in today. Everyone's being a little aggressive. Okay, so positioning. There's a semi-truck up ahead, and we're going to approach it. And something came to my mind that I do that I didn't tell you. And I want to show it to you. So here we go. Let's catch up. This semi-truck right lane up ahead. This Corolla braking for no reason. That's all good though. Let's move on over. Speed limit's 65 here, guys. I'm currently doing 62. So I know someone will be like, wow, Steve's going faster than the other cars. So that's right, because they're not doing the speed limit. So there's a dump truck coming in. It's kind of cooking. Oh man, this is the hard part, guys, about doing live TV, is you just don't know when the vehicles will be present that you're overly looking for. Here's one we'll use. All right. I'm going to get in front of this minivan. All right. So we're going to slide over to the center lane. All right. So, positioning of your vehicle, okay, can be pretty scary with large dump trucks, especially when they're out on the roadway, out at highway speeds. So these vehicles are carrying equipment. A blowout could be devastating. So you want to make sure you're avoiding their tires as much as possible. So if I was going to pass this semi-truck and I could not get fully past it, I probably would not pass. But since I can, I want to make sure I complete it in one complete motion. Why? Because I don't want to sit next to the semi-truck. So same thing would be here. If there was a vehicle in front of me that would get me stuck next to this semi-truck just with the flow of traffic, I would not want to pull up next to it, because then suddenly look what happens. Traffic in front of me stops and I'm next to a thousands of pounds of metal plus several tires that I don't want to be next to. So what I'm saying is, if you can't complete the pass of a semi-truck, just don't even do it until there's enough space for you to go ahead and do that. It's hard for me to explain. So if you're in a flow of traffic, right? You're cruising, 2-lane road, there is a semi-truck in the right travel lane, and you're just slowly passing, right? It's not a steady flow. It's like a couple of mile per hour difference. What I'm saying is, I would encourage you to increase the buffer zone in front of you and the vehicle in front of you, so that for you as the driver, when you're passing the semi-truck, you're not passing it at a slow rate of speed. You're passing it in a way that as you're going by that truck, the probability of you being next to said vehicle is a lot less in time. Does that make sense? It's a practice. So look, just make sure you're paying attention to your tires. If a tire blowout was to happen, you treat it as you're in a hydroplane. So you want to make sure that you're maintaining the direction of your vehicle with your steering wheel. You're not trying to overcorrect anything. You're not trying to spin your car one way. You're simply trying to keep your steering wheel still in the direction of which your vehicle is going. Yes, does that mean if your vehicle is going in towards the shoulder, that's where you're steering? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Because an overcorrection will spin your vehicle out of control. Also, standing on the shoulder. You're getting vehicle maintenance, your vehicle broke down. Stand away from the roadway. Use your vehicle as a barrier. These blasts, the debris, it can travel. You don't want to be a victim of circumstance. So guys, drive safely. Have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Stay hydrated. We'll talk soon.